Welcome, Dan Joe, to Dinner at Joe's. Today we're going to be making the steak au poivre. And I filmed my skillet with the bottom of the, with clarified butter, and we're going to put the steak in here. And it is crusted on both sides, as you can see, with black pepper. And while this cooks on this side, we're going to travel into the kitchen, and we're going to get a lesson in how to prepare the steak. We'll be back in a moment to flip our steak. Welcome into the kitchen at Dinner at Joe's, and we're going to do the kitchen prep for our steak au poivre. And this is our steak here. The first thing we're going to deal with is our green peppercorns. They come in a jar. The green peppercorns are for the sauce. And we're going to crush them very old school. We're going to use a little pot here. And you just want to crack them. That's all. They crack very easily. And then we're going to add them to some boiling water. Just slide them in. This will give them a little plumpness, and we're going to let them sit for 10 minutes. It perks them up, plumps them, and it releases their flavor, and we'll set the timer for 10 minutes. Next, we're going to crack the peppercorns for the steak itself. We have a tablespoon of black peppercorns. Just rub the edge of the pot onto the peppercorns, and you will hear them crack. Using the pan, this is a real old school method. You could also use if you had a metal meat tenderizer, that would work fine. But you want to crack them like so. You don't want to, you do not want to use a pepper mill for this. They need to be coarse, and this is what the French call mignonette. Just got to make sure they're all evenly cracked. Okay. Move our little pan out of the way here. Now I'm going to put these on a plate here. We're going to slide the rest of them here. And we're going to leave this on the side. Next procedure is we're going to wear some gloves to do this next part here. And I think it's important to wear gloves because we're going to deal with raw meat. So we're going to deal with wearing gloves because it's just safer that way. You could make sure if you're going to do it. Now what we have here, this is our New York strip steak. We use the other steak, they were both cut from the same piece, which was about twice this size. And we're going to use this steak here. And we're going to, first we need to trim the silver skin. Just take your knife, a sharp boning knife, and we're going to cut out the silver skin. This is important because this silver skin is not tender, so. You're going to want nice tender meat, so. That's the silver skin. So I'll flip it over. Tiny little bit left on this side. Removing this silver skin is an important tip here. Trim it nice. And next we have this little bit of fat here. Pull the nubbin off. Let's trim it all even. And there's our steak, folks. Next, what I have here, this is a sheet of interfolded delicatessen paper. You could also use wax paper, plastic wrap, parchment paper, patty wax if you wanted, but this, I like this because we're going to use this to pound. Take off the one glove, and we're actually going to pound it down to, we need to pound it down to 1/2 inch. want to be very even when we do this. Even pounding will mean an even thickness during the cooking process. Okay. We get this nice oblong steak here. Cool. That's our beautiful steak. We'll get rid of the mallet. You could also use a meat pounder, but I think the rubber mallet is fine. I'm just going to give it a little more attention on this end here. This makes for very quick cooking in the skillet. Now we're going to unwrap our steak here, and now we're going to season it with salt. Sea salt on both sides. Now we'll flip the steak over. Season it on the other side. I'm going to get rid of that little bit of nastiness right there. It's not going to be pleasant when eating. Season it on the other side. And there's our seasoned steak. Now we're going to bring forth our peppercorns that we crushed. I'm going to lay the steak into the peppercorns on both sides. You want to make sure it's evenly crusted. Okay. And there's your pepper steak. This needs to be done an hour to 2 hours ahead of time. If you're going to do it more than a couple hours ahead of time, it can go in the refrigerator, which is what I'm going to do with this one. I'm just going to lay the paper right on there and stick this in the fridge. And an hour before this is ready to be cooked, we'll pull it out of the refrigerator and allow it to come to room temperature. It's very important that this is at room temperature when it's cooked. And we're going to go back to the table and learn how to cook this beautiful dish. We are now back here, and the steak has been cooking for about a minute on this side. We're about to flip it over. And I also have here some chopped shallots, finely chopped. We have our prepared green peppercorns. I have some demi-glace, our important ingredient, cognac, heavy cream, and salt. Now we're going to flip the steak. It's important. Now we'll turn our heat back up a little bit. We've got to be watchful of our heat, because we have peppercorns in here that we don't want to burn. We just want to get a nice crust on them. And then for the sides today, I have going to serve with it some lyonnaise potatoes that I have prepared and some blistered broiled cherry tomatoes. For those recipes, you can go to this YouTube channel and you can find those two recipes under In Joe's Kitchen. Now we're going to pull the steak out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to dump off the nasty bit of oil, of clarified butter. We still have a few peppercorns in there, that's fine. Now we'll put a new little bit of clarified butter, and we're going to add our shallots in here. Add a tablespoon worth of chopped shallots. And let them cook. And we're going to turn the heat down just a little bit here. We just want the shallots to become tender. And then we're going to do our flambe. And we're going to take our brandy. And if you're worried about flaming the brandy, you can always put the brandy in a separate vessel. We're going to pull our pan off the heat, and we're going to add in our brandy. And then we're going to dip it into the flame and let the brandy flambe. That is a very important step in this recipe. Keep it swirling. We need to cook off the alcohol. Now that the alcohol is cooked off, we're going to hit it with some demi. I'm going to put a couple of spoonfuls in here. That's enough, maybe about a third of a cup or so. We're going to put a little salt. It's important to season. And we're going to add our green peppercorns, which are going to be used to flavor the sauce. Okay? And now we'll turn this down. We don't want to overcook everything, but we want everything to reduce. And now we're going to add cream, now that everything is reduced. This is what makes the sauce real luscious in flavor. And make sure you're using heavy whipping cream, folks. Give it a swirl. Now that the cream is in there, we're going to raise the heat. This needs to come to a full boil. And I'm going to put just a drop of raw brandy in there, not much. Half a teaspoon or so, just for that extra bit of flavor. And I've shut the heat off now. And we're going to add the steak back into the sauce. And if there are any accumulated juices, we're going to add them as well. And now we'll grab our hot plate here. And we're going to sauce up the steak. Beautiful. Now we're going to serve the steak. Now we're going to spoon on this beautiful green peppercorn and brandy sauce, cream sauce. Beautiful. And then we'll come over here and we're going to get some of our beautiful sides. You could also serve mashed potatoes if you like. I like these Lyonnaise potatoes, they're delicious. And then some of our beautiful broiled blistered cherry tomatoes. And they add a real nice fresh element here. If you like cream spinach, that would be beautiful here, or string beans. Beautiful. And then last but not least, always garnish with fresh parsley. And I like to put a little around the plate for prettiness sake. And there's your beautiful steak au poivre. This is Joseph Duggan, and I hope you've enjoyed Dinner at Joe's. Next time we're going to look at pasta at the table. We're going to make some pasta with artichoke and truffle cream. So stay tuned for that next time, and until then, good eating.